Hey guys, NunoTheDude. I just finished scarletnexus and I have to say, after seeing the mixed reviews on scarletnexus, talking about its characters, world and story, I was a bit cautious coming into this game. However, after finishing Yuito's campaign, I must say, this is one of the most underrated games I've ever seen. It's unique, it's interesting, and tries something different. However, this doesn't mean the game doesn't have its flaws. In fact, it has some serious pacing issues, and I feel like the reusal of content and backtracking and how they present the cutscenes is a big turn-off that I can see preventing people from finishing it. I'm not going to talk about the entirety of this game, but some things that stood out to me, be it positive or negative. Also, keep in mind I only finished Yuito's campaign, but nonetheless I still wanted to talk about my experiences with this game. Also, this is going to be a part 2 series. Part 1 is me talking about the negatives, which is the one you are watching right now, and if enough people like this video, I'm gonna make a part 2. So if you wanna see part 2, please give it a like and subscribe and also comment. So yeah, enjoy. So, the cutscenes bothered me a little bit. They are presented as a visual novel / slideshow, and that kinda sucks. I have played games that use this visual novel style before. Games like Danganronpa and Persona come to mind, but they are definitely not my preferred style of presenting a story. I don't know if they did this because they had budget constraints, so they couldn't really animate all of them, but most of the story is animated this way, which makes it somewhat hard to get immersed in the story when all you're doing is looking at a slideshow of the characters speaking. It also somewhat neuters the impact of some scenes, which is a shame because the story was actually pretty decent, and having it presented in this sort of way is kind of a shame, because the animated cutscenes we did get were animated and acted fairly well. Another problem I have is the backtracking and reusal of content in this game. For reference, you go to the same places like 2 or 3 times throughout the story. This doesn't happen to every single environment in the game, but you do revisit the same places multiple times to the point where it becomes noticeable. For example, there's this place called Kikushiba. You visit it once, and then twice on a training mission for the story, and then another 3 or 4 fucking times for Bond episodes, which are essentially social links from Persona, but I will talk about them later. Anyways, developers need to understand that if you don't have anything interesting, meaningful or new to show us, then end the game sooner rather than giving us this asinine filler that only artificially prolongs the game time. Another problem I have with the game is the enemies that were just kinda repetitive. First of all, the enemies are really damn cool and fun to fight. I love their designs and how fighting them was fun. They also had their unique mechanics, but when you start seeing the same enemy reskin and recolor over and over again, the enemies start to become repetitive and unfun, which means the game definitely could have used some more variety. So I want to keep this segment short because I don't want to spoil this game, but if you do want to keep watching, keep in mind there are some spoilers ahead, so skip to the time shown on screen if you don't want to be spoiled. Okay? So the story had some pacing issues. I feel like Asana trying to kill you multiple times was dumb, because she just does it multiple times, and this segment should have been shorter. I know it's resolved, and I know there is a reason for this, but I think it was handled pretty poorly in my opinion. Maybe it's more fleshed out in her campaign, but since I only played through Yuito's campaign, take this criticism with a grain of salt. Also, after the big reveal, the whole thing with the moon, the plot twists, after these things are revealed, the game just kinda drags on a little bit, you know? The game finishes off in a pretty satisfying manner, but I feel like some story elements are undercooked, and they could have been done a little bit better, like with the characters trying to kill each other, then being perfectly okay with speaking and just chilling in the Bond episodes. Not only that, but some characters and plot points are also a bit underdeveloped. Like for example, characters like Nagi, Naomi and Captain Seto, among others, didn't really have much screen time for me to care about their deaths. Not to mention New Muka's actions towards its citizens not having near as much impact as it should. Like for example, in the story it's revealed the government is doing some shady shit, but this is kind of brushed aside in the grand scheme of things. The characters aren't fired from their jobs for exposing the government, there's no riots, no civil war, no protests. I mean, it's a huge missed opportunity, and the game just has a lot of these types of things in the story, where it doesn't really have much action, or it's not explored any further. So I feel like the story was good ultimately, but it had a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of plot points are undercooked. There's a few other things I'm probably missing, but I don't really care about talking about those, since most likely no one will watch this video, so the effort I put into it doesn't matter. But if you do want to see a part 2, then please go ahead and give it a like and even comment. Also consider subscribing if you want to see more of this type of content, and yeah, if I get like 10 likes in this video, then I'm gonna consider making part 2. So yeah, goodbye.